UConn women went to the Bahamas and an Azzi Fudd breakout party happened. You're locked on.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we dive into today's show, just want to take a moment and say how thankful we are for all of you in the spirit of Thanksgiving, and really just how grateful we are for this opportunity to do this podcast. It's growing so much, and it's because of fans like you who value great UConn content. So we're proud to say we're the only daily podcast covering both UConn men and women's basketball, the basketball capital of the world, and we're thrilled to bring you the coverage you deserve. So to show our gratitude, we're giving back to our community. We're donating 10% of our revenue to Husky Ticket Project, helping kids to get to UConn games, and we're also making monthly donations to Bleeding Blue for Good to support NIL initiatives that make a difference. If you're enjoying the show, take a moment to subscribe and follow and leave a review wherever you listen. Thanks again for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We couldn't do this without you. Special shout out to my everydayers out there. Okay, so UConn went to the Bahamas and an Azzi Fudd party broke out. Let's start by talking about the game-changing performance by her. And Paige is the one who, I did not make this up. Obviously, Paige is the one who said the Azzi Fudd breakout party. Honestly, that's the perfect description. This wasn't just Azzi scoring points. This was Azzi announcing to everyone, much like Michael Jordan, I'm back. And against Ole Miss, UConn built a dominant 19-point lead in the first half. The defense was stifling and the team was firing on all cylinders. But Ole Miss came out in the third quarter, as we talked about prior to this game, that they'd be tough. They're a veteran squad, and they went on a 15-0 run to cut the lead to just 3 points. Everything felt like it was slipping away. Paige was turning the ball over. Sarah Strong couldn't find her rhythm, and Ole Miss was hitting their stride, and that's when Azzi took over. She had a crucial three-pointer to stop the Ole Miss run, followed it up with a mid-range jumper, and capped it off with an old-fashioned three-point play to start out the fourth quarter. Every time Ole Miss tried to push back, Azzi was there with an answer. She scored 12 of her 18 points in the second half, keeping the Huskies afloat during a critical stretch. What's remarkable, though, is about Azzi's performance is how she adapted. She's known for her shooting from deep, but her three-point shot hasn't been consistent since her return. Instead of forcing it, she leaned more into other aspects of her game, and she attacked the basket, cut for layups, hit mid-range jumpers. Gino summed it up as, this is probably the best version of herself physically that we have seen since her junior year of high school. That's mind-boggling to me. If you just think about that, like the years and the mental toll that is taken, and I think this game was a perfect game for her to really show that she is, as Gino has called it, really kind of made them whole. And what's remarkable about all of this is we have to take a step back and remember we do this all the time with her, because it's just so, every game that she plays, every minute she plays is something that needs to be addressed, because the journey that she has been on to get to this point, tearing her ACL and meniscus in a devastating fashion, and for a player with her potential, it could have been a career-altering, potentially ending situation. But Azzi didn't just work to get back on the court. She worked to come back better. Her rehab wasn't just about recovering. It was about strengthening her entire body, her mind, fine-tuning her skills, rebuilding her confidence. Every drill, every session in the gym, every rep, it all led to that moment against Ole Miss. Watching her shine on a big stage after everything she's been through was nothing short of inspiring. The win over Ole Miss wasn't just about securing a tournament championship, although I'm sure that was nice. It was about Azzi reintroducing herself to the basketball world. Her performance wasn't just a breakout. It was a reminder of why she was the number one recruit in her class, and why she's projected to be a top pick in the WNBA draft, and why she's a crucial piece, and why Gino Auriemma has said, we're whole now. So yes, Paige Bueckers nailed it. This was the Azzi Fudd breakout party. And if this is just the beginning of what AZ has in store, UConn fans and the rest of the women's basketball world better buckle up. This team just got a whole lot more dangerous. When we return, we're going to talk about Jana El Alfy's growth and UConn's resilience after this. There's nothing like being at a game, feeling the energy of the crowd, the sound of the sneakers on the court, the pure adrenaline rush when Azzi Fudd hits her first three-pointer in forever or breaks a 15-0 run, whether it's spotting celebrities out courtside, hearing the roar of the fans. I'm sure you can see Jason Sudeikis at some of these women's games, or simply being a part of the action. Live sports are an experience you can't replicate at home, and not just concerts or comedy shows, theater performances, whatever you want. It's all better live. Now, let me tell you about Game Time and their new Game Time Picks feature. It filters out the fluff that shows you the best deals on great seats so you can focus on the fun, not the search. I used Game Time recently for family members, and they were blown away about how easy it was. Got super deal options that help me lock in amazing seats at a fraction of the price. They have all-in pricing. You see the total cost up front, no hidden fees, no last-minute headaches. On top of that, they have a lowest price guarantee, and what that means is that you have event cancellation protection. If you find tickets for less, they'll credit you for 110% of the difference. That's the kind of peace of mind that makes this a must-have app. And take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So what time is it, guys? It's game time. Get your tickets today and experience the best in live entertainment. All right, we're back on Locked On UConn. While AZ was the star of the show, let's take a quick moment to shine a little light on Jana El Alfy. Her impact in the second half was absolutely critical to UConn pulling out the win. She came off the bench late in the third quarter while the game was hanging in the balance and immediately made her presence felt. Jana grabbed tough rebounds, blocked shots, and scored key points that helped UConn regain control. In just 20 minutes, she finished with 8 points, 9 rebounds, and a block, all while providing a steadying presence in the paint. Gino praised her postgame, saying she stayed within the context of who she is. We need her to play great defense, rebound, and make easy shots look easy. She accomplished all three of those things today. Love to hear it. Her fourth quarter performance was especially clutch. She opened the period with a block, scored a pair of buckets, and helped extend UConn's lead back into double digits. In a game where turnovers and defensive lapses gave Ole Miss life, Jana's toughness and focus were exactly what the Huskies needed. What stands out about Jana is how quickly she's grown into that role. Remember, she's been the one that we've essentially talked about how Gino was really tough on her, how there was a lot of expectations coming in. As big as she is, as multifaceted as she is, her ability to do a lot of different things. But if you listen to Gino, it's like, hey, let's just focus on these three things and do them well. And I love that the way he put that, stayed within the context of who she is, because it's the truth. We need that defensive presence, we need rebounding, and we need her to make easy shots, putbacks, layups. She doesn't need to be a three-point shooter yet. Those are all nice to haves. It's kind of like a job description. You have to meet the minimum requirements before we even worry about whether you have nice to haves or kind of add more value on top of that. So, listen, she's a redshirt freshman. She's still finding her footing. But that performance against Ole Miss showed she's capable of making a really big impact. And she's not just a rebounder or a defensive stopper. She's become a key part of this team's identity, which is a team that is a force to be reckoned with AZ in the fold, playing at a high level now. I want to see some more from her. Obviously, the consistency needs to be there from both AZ and from Jana. Everybody needs to be consistent outside of Paige is consistent. That's it. But speaking of identity, let's talk about UConn's resilience. The third quarter was rough. Ole Miss forced 7 turnovers in 7 minutes and completely flipped the momentum. But what makes this UConn team special is their ability to respond. I saw it in North Carolina. Sure, people saw it at the Bahamas. They're alive. They didn't fold. They dug in, found answers, and closed the game strong. That's the kind of grit that will serve them well as the tough games come ahead. And we're going to talk about that coming up after the break. What's up, NFL fans? FanDuel gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's turn our attention to what lies ahead for this UConn team. The win over Ole Miss in the Baha championship was crucial, but it was just the beginning. And after a quick tune-up game at home against Holy Cross, the Huskies dive headfirst into what can only be described as a gauntlet of top-tier competition. This stretch will feature matchups against 24th-ranked Louisville, number 3 Notre Dame on the road, number 15 Ohio State, and number 6 USC, all within a 10-day span. 3 of these games are on the road or neutral sites, making the challenges even more daunting because you won't have the friendly confines. Gamble, it's the kind of stretch that doesn't just test the team's skill, but their resilience, focus, mental toughness, you named it. The good news is UConn has been here before. And now, with an extended lineup that adds Azzi Fudd, I think we're prepared. And honestly, games like the one against Ole Miss are exactly the kind of preparation they need. Gino said it best post-game. In the end, games like this are going to help us more than if we lead by that. If that lead went from 18 points to 30-point lead, we wouldn't have learned anything that we needed to learn. He's right. These gritty, hard-fought wins build character, teach lessons that blowout victories just simply can't. It's not about being perfect right now. It's about growing and adapting and laying the foundation for success in March. This December is a stretch. It just isn't a test of UConn's talent because there's plenty. It's a proving ground. It's a proving ground for their chemistry, proving ground for the leadership of Paige Bueckers, proving ground for Gino and how he has the ability to create the rotations that matter, and a proving ground for the rest of this team and their ability to step up in high-pressure situations. For Azzi, it's a chance to build on her breakout performance against Ole Miss, really solidify her role as one of the team's go-to players. I mean, she is one of the go-to players, but build on the consistency, have another 18-point game, throw 20 on the board, whatever it is. So after overcoming all that adversity, I just don't want her to take a step back. The confidence is there. The game is growing along with her confidence. And this stretch could be an opportunity to really fully establish herself as just an absolute dominant hooper. Then there's our old friend Jana El Alfy, who we've talked a lot about. She is nothing short of a revelation when she plays well. Her ability to rebound, defend, score efficiently has given UConn that reliable presence, albeit it's been spotty. Ice has been more of that. But Jana, to me, is the key. She's still learning. Her impact is undeniable. I think she'll play a key role in this upcoming stretch, either positively or negatively, because if she doesn't play like she did against Ole Miss, they're going to have some issues. So she's going to affect it one way or the other. Meanwhile, this might be the first podcast we've done where we haven't put a big focus on Paige. She's the anchor. Leadership, efficiency on the court, crucial as UConn navigates this challenging schedule. And I honestly wouldn't mind seeing her step a little outside of the box and take over the game, like I know she can. Because we know her true gift lies in making her teammates better. But this stretch is going to require her to balance her scoring with setting others up and maybe taking over some games in some high-pressure situations where she says, okay, get on my back for a piggyback ride. We're not doing this. We're on deferring. And then there's always Sarah Strong. I mean, absolutely talented, coveted freshman who's shown flashes of brilliance and has truly been consistent. You know, I think there's been maybe a stretch in a game where she really hasn't shot it well or whatever, but I mean, it's so few and far between. She's developed into an absolute fantastic, reliable college basketball player. And let's not sugarcoat it. This stretch is going to be tough. Louisville is ranked this year. Notre Dame, Hannah Hidalgo, sitting at number 3 in the country. She might be challenging Paige for National Player of the Year. Iowa State brings a high octane offense and has some really good depth on the front court that really can kind of push us that way. USC and Juju Watkins loaded with talent, and the type of team that can challenge the Huskies on every possession. I think every one of these games will be a battle, and UConn will need contributions from everyone on the roster to come out on top. So, again, it's about identity. Who is this UConn team? Are they the squad that dominated the first half against Ole Miss, or the one that let up a 19-point lead shrink to 3 in the third quarter? Can they rise to the occasion when the competition stiffens, or will the growing pains continue to a certain extent? These are the questions that will start to be answered over the next few weeks. And while challenges are significant, so are the opportunities. If UConn can navigate this stretch successfully, I mean, they'll be the number 1 team in the country heading into the new year. So UConn fans, strap in. December is going to be a wild ride. This is where the season really starts to take form and shape, and where the groundwork for March is absolutely going to be laid, and where the Huskies will show whether they're ready to embrace that grind, whether it's AZ hitting clutch shots, Jana showing owning the boards, blocking shots, Sarah doing a little bit of everything, and of course, Paige leading the absolute charge of this team. This team is built for big moments, because as long as we have Paige Bueckers and she's healthy, I think even though the road won't be easy, it's the kind of challenge that she likes and will define this season as we head into conference play and other big games against South Carolina and Tennessee. Let's see what these Huskies are made of. This journey is just getting started, y'all. This has been another episode of Locked On UConn. I'm Mark Zanetto, asking you to stay locked on, stay connected, and to remember it's not just about getting it done, it's about doing it in a way it can't be done any better. That's our goal every day. It's our goal for you guys. Remember, go Huskies.